Three, two, one. Welcome to the SaaS Pulse Show. My name is Michael Bertoni, and I'm the founder and CEO of SaaS Talent. And unbelievably excited today, everyone. We have a SaaS product leader, technology, software product leader. He's almost, I think, as old as I am. We're talking about the heyday of computer associates. He actually knows what that company is. So amazing. So let me introduce everyone to Nathan Creswell. He has got multiple things he is doing. So let's get into this. He is the head of product at LeadIQ, number one. He is a partner in To Go Advisor Group, which consults on product and product consultancy, where he is doing CPO duties. He is a startup advisor and a lead for a syndicate for an angel investor group. And he is just an all-around product guy, right? So it's great to have you on the show, Nathan.
Thanks, Michael. I think that's a good way to describe me. Just an all-around product guy. I like that description.
He is an all-around product guy. We're going to rebrand his LinkedIn, all-around product guy. So everybody who's listening to this right now, product people are essential, right? I mean, many startups and SaaS companies that Nathan and I see, they don't have a product person, right? They don't have a product expert. That's why, Nathan's out there. He's helping companies like LeadIQ, and he's doing this other work that he's doing. So, Nathan, let's just get right into it here. What I always love to start with is the superhero backstory, right? So you're doing a lot of awesome things. I mean, I just, and you're present with all these things. So how did this all happen, right? So how did you become a product expert? How did you get into being an investor, which is amazing? And also just your love for the product. How did that all happen?
Okay. I'm trying to think in my head how far to go back. Look, ever since I graduated college, and it sounds like we graduated college at a similar vintage, I always had an interest in business and technology. I didn't know where that would take me. I just knew that's where my interests lay in
Mm-hmm.
terms of solving business problems with technology. So I actually started out my career as a systems consultant. So yeah, we're a similar vintage. So you know the names of Siebel, SAP, right? That's
Sure.
where those are the things that I consulted in. And I got to a point in my career where I couldn't change the products that I was working with, the software products that I was working with. When you typically implement software that someone else has built,
Mm,
you're allowed to do things within a very constrained way, right?
right.
SAP in particular, right?
Totally.
Um, and so I was like, I would look at how these things were being implemented, and I was like, that makes no sense. It should have been built in a different way.
Right.
And that kind of sort of was the element of my frustration that led me into product. I then did my MBA at a little place called INSEAD. Your more international visitors may have heard of that school.
Mm,
But the that was where it all came from, was a desire to change the products that I was working with.
mm,
And so that's kind of how it all started. And then, post my MBA, I started my career in Silicon Valley in the Bay Area. And, you can argue like different areas of the world are different. New York City is a hub, London is a hub, Tel Aviv is a hub for software. So is
sure.
Singapore in some ways, right? But Silicon Valley has been and always will be the source for tech. If not for money, for capital, but for knowledge, for experience, it doesn't really matter what your software is. You can probably find somewhere in the Bay Area or your problem that has dealt with that problem before in
Right.
software, right? Just
Definitely.
because the length of time that it's been that place has been so long. And so that's how it kind of all started. And I was a product manager just like anyone else, a senior product manager as I went up through the ranks and worked for a couple of companies. Your listeners may have heard Salesforce is one of them.
Hmm.
And then I ended up getting involved a lot in startups, and a lot of startups would start to come to me unsolicited and would say, "Hey, Nathan, we know you're a domain expert in X field. What do you think of this idea?" And I was like, "Wow, that's a
Right.
really good idea." Like I said, I don't know if you'll make it. I don't know if you can execute on that idea, But if you make this idea work, it's going to be amazing, you
Yeah.
know? And so that's where the angel investment and the investing came from. And, naturally, because you're in Silicon Valley, people are pitching ideas all the time. Most of them are not great ideas, I will say. But, look, at this stage of my investing career, I will say that no idea is a is there are no idea is a good idea, no idea is a bad idea. They're all just ideas. Whether or not they're actually going to be successful ideas depends on a whole host of factors that you probably can't see into the future, because it requires so many things to come into place for that idea to lead to an IPO exit, and I was a part of an IPO exit, Zuora, and that that was a journey. That was a real journey to get to IPO.
Nice.
So, that's how it all kind of came about: product, interest, and investing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, you're really got to call it like the triple crown or something here. So I think I just made that term up, but it's like the person who can sing, he can dance, he can act. I mean, he could do product, he could do investing, he can build products, he could do it all. So it's
Well,
great.
I
So
like
everybody,
that. Yeah.
so again, everybody listening right now, reach out to Nathan. Reach out to Nathan, connect with him. He's going to be able to help you out. But let's dig into what is product to you. So tell the audience product.
Okay.
Like a lot of SaaS startups, they don't have a CPO, they
Mm,
don't have a VP of product, they don't have this.
mm.
What does the head of product, what do they do? So talk about it in terms of LeadIQ, like what are you doing there? But what's that all about?
Yeah. So product is different things to different people. It is different between industries, and it is different between companies in the same industry, right? You think that as an example, Google and Meta would be very similar in their approach and their thinking to product management. They are
Mhm.
totally different, and it reflects their DNA, their culture and their DNA, and where they came from, and the products that they produce, right? So what does product do? I'll use a couple of phrases and examples to explain what product does, as opposed to a somewhat pithy corporate speak statement. Um, Product, fundamentally, there is always someone making product decisions in a SaaS company.
Mhm.
Someone is making the decisions always.
Right.
It in earlier stages, it's usually the founder. The founder is the default CPO.
Definitely.
In If there is no product function, sometimes it's engineering making the product decisions,
CTO. Sometimes it's the CTO.
CTO.
Right.
Sometimes it's I've seen when there isn't a strong product voice, I've seen QA make product decisions because they're close to the use cases, right? I've
Sure.
seen I've seen UX make product decisions
There you
because
go.
they're they're close, and all those functions can actually lead to good product managers, right? I've seen product managers come from UX backgrounds, QA backgrounds, engineering backgrounds. I myself come from a systems consulting background, right? So everyone can come from a different background and lend their own twist on what product should be about, right? Which is why it's so hard to define, right? But fundamentally, a product person will help you to execute on the vision and strategy of a company, and help you to actually take that product to ensure that it is the right problem being solved with the
Mhm.
right solution, right? That's how I use a pithy phrase to describe it. There are many other phrases to describe what product does. You'll hear phrases like the product manager is the mini CEO. It's true and untrue. You do have to think like a CEO at some level. You have to think about, regardless of level of product manager, you're at some level thinking strategically and about the future, right? And all the elements that go into combine a successful product. But you don't have the power of a CEO. No one reports to you other than other product managers, right? So yes, you are the mini CEO, but you're not, you know. You are also the voice of the customer. That's another phrase that will be heard about product management. But that doesn't mean you get to ignore everyone else's voice. You have to listen to the voice of go to market. You have to listen to the voice of sales and marketing because they are the closest to the customer. You have to listen to the voice of engineering because engineering build the product. So if engineering say this particular problem is going to take 15 years to solve, you better pay attention. Or you better say, well, maybe is there a way we can make it not 15 years? Like, maybe we could
Yeah.
make it 1 month. Like, so you'll hear all these different phrases about it, and all the phrases are true and untrue at the very same time, and I've just given you another phrase, which I believe it's about the right problem using the right technology solution.
Yeah, Nathan, it's really, really wild. I mean, I actually, one thing that I've looked at, and I've never found this actually in the SaaS industry, there is no association. There's literally, unless you tell me, like, there's no association that sets standards of how to build a
Yeah,
SaaS, right?
that's exactly right. Yeah.
So it's kind of blows my mind, to be honest. Like there's no like SaaS nonprofit that like, okay, we're like the board that helps build, like we should create this. Like I've said this, like if you want to create it, we could create it together. But the product person to me always they own that product roadmap.
Mm,
They own those features and functionality,
mhm,
right? The CTO and their team are building it. They're
mhm,
building it. But
mhm.
that they're doing this, the CPO, they're doing the research, they're talking to the customer, they're building the killer features.
Yeah.
If you're a SaaS company out there, you got to have killer features. You got to have things that
Yeah,
differentiate.
it does. It does.
And
But
if you don't,
yeah,
if the CPO is really doing their job right, they're building stuff, they're putting it on the roadmap, they're coming up with ideas that are just like, wow, I
yeah,
did not think of that. That's really going to help the customer. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
product people are huge. And a lot of really stage SaaS, my audience listening to this right now, or if you're thinking about building a product, you're not necessarily thinking about a CPO, but it's very, very important.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like I said, everything is true and not true at the same time. Like it's like quantum computing, right? Everything is true and not true in the same microsecond. Everything you said is absolutely 100% correct, right? The nuance and the detail that I would add to what you said about roadmap and building features is that um, a feature success, particularly in B2B, if we talk about B2C and PLG, product-led growth, you can make more of an argument that it's really just about the feature, right?
Right.
And the other stuff doesn't have much to do with it. But if you're talking about B2B, which is my specialty, there is a lot to the success of a feature that is outside the design of that feature.
Mm,
There's a lot with how it's priced, how it's marketed, how it's messaged and positioned, how it's trained, how it's enabled. Did if a feature is not being used in a B2B customer, was it because they didn't know about it, or was it because it was poorly designed? I don't know,
right.
you know. And so there's a lot of nuance, and in B2B, ironically you think, consumer companies would be more empathetic to the human psychology. It's actually B2B companies that have to be more empathetic to human psychology because it is about enabling the people to use the software. That's a big component of B2B software, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that everything you said is true, and all I would say is that uh, none of those things that you mentioned are crafted in a vacuum or in a silo by a good CPO. If you craft a good roadmap, it's because it's the synthesis of hopefully hundreds of conversations with customers, external and internal resources and external resources, right? That roadmap is not just a fiction of the CPO. It is based on real synthesis of conversations and evidence that this is the direction that the company needs to go in. And ultimately, engineering has a huge voice in the roadmap. They need to be able to say, is this estimate even correct? Do we know what this feature is? Do we know how we're going to build it? Do we know that it's 15 years versus 6 months? Everyone has a part to play in the roadmap, which is why another thing that's said about product is that it's the glue. It's the glue for the functions. And the best sign that you need a CPO and a product manager is when the other functions demand it. When the other functions realize they are being overwhelmed and they're not getting the decisions that they need, and there's chaos and confusion and they're overwhelmed, that's a typically a sign that you need a product leader to help sort it out. So,
Yeah, totally. So let's get into a little bit about LeadIQ, right? So you're the head of product at LeadIQ.
mhm.
What are you doing there? So explain to the audience, like head of product at LeadIQ. LeadIQ is a great company. I mean, a lot of people know about it. What do you do there? What are your goals? What does your team look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, product is a small team at LeadIQ. Product is always the smallest team in any company.
Yeah.
It's not a function that typically has tons of people thrown at it, right? Like
Right.
you try and minimize it. So it is a small team, but I have a team of product managers, and we are in sales tech. And LeadIQ is of course my 100% focus. It is definitely a company that has carved out a great space in prospecting. I
Hmm.
would be surprised if you use it to prospect to prospect outbound, right? We have a great Chrome extension that allows you to generate pipeline, right? Which is
Hmm.
what we all want to do in sales, right? We want to generate pipe, and so what we're really trying to do there is obviously grow like any other company, and use our position in the market, which we do have one, and we have mind share already with a lot of great customers that you can see on the website, to actually develop into other areas and other product lines that we think are going to be very compelling, including, for example, the ability to produce signals, right? And so
Hmm.
the ability to actually, when you're strategically generating pipeline with our software, the ability to then use compelling signals that will actually make sure that this calling or emailing this person is worth your time. Because as a salesperson, I'm sure you've done sales. I've tried my hand at sales. Sales is hard. You don't have
Hmm.
time. Every quarter you're being held to a quota. You don't meet that quota, well, maybe your existence gets questioned as a seller.
Oh yeah.
So it's a rough occupation. It's a high stress, high stakes occupation. And so every minute of every second as your time of a seller is valuable, right? And we want to make that time more valuable, right? We want your time to be valuable. We want you to know that, you know what, there's a greater than 50% chance if you contact this person, you're probably going to land a deal. Can't say for sure. Nothing is for sure, but we want to increase the odds in your favor as a seller.
Right. Right. Yeah. So in terms of what you're working on right now, I mean,
Hmm.
let's dive down a little bit deeper.
Hmm.
What are some of those things that are coming down the pipe, or things you could talk about in terms of, because I love lead generation.
Yeah,
The team loves lead generation, right?
yeah.
It's You have a Chrome extension. I'm assuming it allows me to use LinkedIn and things
Mhm.
like that. But what's the future look like for this, for these
Yeah,
areas?
I
And what are you
mean,
working on?
yeah, we have a range of services beyond the Chrome extension. We have enrichment services. Everyone needs to enrich. Doesn't matter who you are, you need to
Hmm.
enrich. You'll get an email from a form fill on a website, and you need to know more about that person, right? And you don't want to force that person to have to input 10 different fields, right? They were on your
Sure.
website, they downloaded a PDF, maybe you get their email. That's it. That's all you can ask for, right? So enrichment services is one area
Oh, I
that I
love that. I
that I
love that.
think.
I get that. You fill out a form, you just get the email. You guys add every, name, phone
Yeah,
number.
yeah, yeah. And then you
I
know how
love
to
that.
approach them. Then you know how to position yourselves to them. They could be a
Hmm.
VP versus a senior product manager. Probably what you want to say to a VP is going to be different to what you want to say to a product manager, right? So all of that we can enrich. So that's one area we think is going to be very compelling. Like
Hmm.
I said, the other area I think is signals, because definitely when you're prospecting, right? You
Huge.
want to know more, right? You want to know, like, well, what are the reasons that I should be reaching out to this person? Is there a reason, right? The days of cold calling, I think, died in maybe 2005. I'm sure there are still industries and sellers that do cold calling, but geez, that's a big waste of time. You're just hoping that you've chanced upon someone that maybe is your ICP persona that you're targeting, that maybe
Yeah.
is going to have the time to talk to you, that maybe is going to pick up the phone or respond to your email. Sure, it can be automated. It's still a waste of time, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in terms of, it's way harder to do cold stuff.
Hmm.
You got to warm things up, right? You got to people know about me before they even talk to me, right? They're researching me. You hope
Yep.
that they
Yep.
are.
Yep, they
But
probably. I did the same. I went to your website and I looked you folks up and I was like, hey, these guys look interesting. Let's do a podcast.
yeah, no, I mean we're trying. We're out there. We're out there trying really hard and getting out in the market and doing things like this.
Mhm.
But this has been really great. I mean, what I'd love to understand, just got two or three biggest piece of advice that you would give other people, other startups, other solopreneurs listening to this. Two or three biggest piece of advice that you would give them.
Okay. Um, two or three. I have like 15 pieces of advice. Keep it.
We'll
Let's
write a
keep it.
blog. We will follow this up
Maybe
with a blog on
I'll
the
keep it. I'll keep
challenges.
it to two or three. Um, if I were to choose key pieces of advice, and I think, look, honestly, advice is what is worth what you pay for it. So this is free
Right.
advice. So,
Free advice.
so look, you know, uh, delay hiring. Believe it or not, this is counterintuitive. Delay hiring product for as long as you can, because you will not understand why you need product until you don't have it.
Right.
So delay
Like
it
that.
actually for as long as you can. And like I said previously, when the other functions demand it, that's when you know for sure you need product help, right?
Interesting.
That would be the biggest piece of advice. And the second piece of advice I would say, I'll give you three. The second piece of advice I would say is don't expect that product will help you move faster. If you want to move faster, again, this is counterintuitive. If you want to move faster, don't have product. Give your directions directly to the engineer. That's much faster than inserting a product management function, right? But insert product if you want to be thoughtful about the right problem to solve with
Right.
the right solution, right? But if you want to move fast, I'm not so sure product is going to help you move faster than you as a founder telling an engineer directly what you want, right? But is it the right thing? Do you know in your heart of hearts that it's the right thing that you should be doing? That's what you need product for, to determine if it is truly right, to bet the company on, right? So that's the second piece of somewhat counterintuitive advice. And kind of the the third piece of advice or somewhat pithy advice that I would offer is that, product is really something that you have to be thoughtful to introduce it into your organization. Don't do it because your investor is telling you to do it, or your board says you just got a round of funding and what are you going to do with it? Typically, companies at your stage hire a product manager. Where's your product manager? Don't do it for any of those reasons. Be thoughtful about what product is going to do in your organization, what function it's going to serve, and how
Mm.
you think it can help you with your problems, right? I've seen many situations where people are just like, well, we got Series A and guess we need to hire product now. No, no one has told you need to hire product. No one can tell you any. You're the founder. No one can ever tell you what to do. That's why you're a founder, right? So be thoughtful about introducing product into your organization, because ultimately a product manager is also not going. This might be a small fourth piece of advice. A product manager is not going to print $50 million for you in ARR. And so if you're relying on the product manager to say, oh, you're going to come up with an idea that's going to print $50 million, that's also not the function of product, right? Product can help you with an idea or help you synthesize an idea that you already have, right? But don't expect product to come up with the ideas for you, right?
Sure.
Ultimately, the vision and the reason your company exists rests with the founder, right? So that has to come from you as an entrepreneur and as a founder. Why do you exist? Why do you think like you're solving a problem that's going to make money? Why do you think that's even a problem that people will pay money for? You know, that is what, and then a product manager can help you take that to execution, right? So those are my pieces of advice.
Love it.
Those are
Love
my
it, Nathan. This has been a great podcast.
mm.
I'm really looking forward to following you and getting to know you better. I
Mhm.
mean, again, for everybody listening, again, Nathan is a product expert. He is an angel investor, right? He does consultancy around product, and he heads product he full time at LeadIQ. So connect with him. Get together with him on LinkedIn, and it was awesome having you on the show. Stick around for a minute or two. We'll debrief.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to following your journey.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd only mention, if you do reach out to me, mention you heard me on the podcast. I get a lot of reach out from a lot of people. So I ignore most of them. But just mention you heard me from this podcast.
I
So.
love it.